What's up, guys? This is the second video probably of the how I use the Hunt app to do various things series that we're going to be doing about OnX and OnX, their Hunt app. Because like we touched on in the first video, it's pretty much the most utilized tool that we use for hunting anything in general. I mean, I'm always on OnX, just looking at stuff and planning out my hunts. So we love using it, and this is going to be a really good video series showing that off, showing how you use it. Not only that, but also just a lot of concepts that you can apply, even if for some weird reason you choose not to use the Hunt app.
You're crazy, dude.
So in this video, we're going to be doing, like I said, the second one. The first one was how we use it to hunt out west.
As a midwestern standpoint, guys who are scared,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm not scared, but it's more intimidating for midwestern guys or out-of-state guys to go out west.
Yep. So this one, in contrary, will be kind of our home base, how we use it to go about hunting and finding places to hunt and strategizing in the Midwest area. We've hunted Iowa, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Missouri, and I think that's it in the Midwest.
That's not
Still,
much.
that's 4, right?
That's not that much.
A lot of our hunting is on public land, though, so
Oh, yeah.
we've experienced pretty much every habitat type there is, at least in the Midwest, which I think is important. And all of these features can definitely be applied to wherever you're hunting, which is really important.
In-state or out-of-state, right?
Yep, exactly. Especially for out-of-state that you're just doing this e-scouting from and you're trying to find places to hunt, public land, private land. It's got all of this info on there.
So to start, you kind of have to decide what you want to hunt and where you want to hunt. So by that meaning, you got to go through and look at, you know, are you wanting to go on an out-of-state hunt this fall and hunt a different area? If so, jump in and start looking at different areas that you may want to hunt. Got to take in travel costs into consideration.
Yep.
Different season dates in different states. Kind of get an idea of the season dates, and as well as the tag prices. And applications for said tag prices. You know, some states have.
Yep.
Some states like Iowa for non-residents, it's like $500 and some, and you have to apply, and it takes years to get in.
Yep.
Places like South Dakota this year changed their rules, and non-residents can't hunt South Dakota public lands until October 1st, I'm pretty sure it is. So there's an entire month of September that they're only allowing residents to hunt because they're trying to protect their resident hunters, which makes total sense. But you don't want to spend your time looking at South Dakota as a non-resident in September if you can't hunt there. So
Right.
you want to make sure you go through and do all that information. And I could be wrong on the exact dates or whatever, but I mean, I know for sure it's like a month beforehand where you can't hunt South Dakota. So you got to look into that and decide your species. And then from there, you got to decide where you're wanting to stay.
Yep.
And so on and so forth.
I would look for, you know, proximity to big cities, different populations of the people and the animals.
Yep.
Obviously, you want high population of the animals and low population of people around the area, if at all possible. So, you know, try to maximize those things. You can find that all online or by calling a biologist, and we talked about that way too much on the Western video, and a lot of that can be applied. So if you're interested in finding that general region of where to go, refer back to our first video in this series, and we talked about that for probably 5 minutes. So way too much. But finding that general region, and then from there I would look at different access points and different sizes of the public lands and the overall diversity of it, I think, are the main key points. Or private lands.
Right. There's nothing wrong with private land.
Oh, it's awesome if you can get permission. And a lot of times you can find, oh, well, Jimmy over here on this, you know, it can be any size of private land. He's got this nice draw running through it. Maybe it gets overlooked. You go knock on his door, and he's this farmer that
Doesn't care.
Or a lot of times, I mean, especially for turkey, you can get permission almost anywhere, even if it's just for one day.
Depending on where you're at. Like Southeast guys, they take turkey hunting.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody turkey hunts down there.
This is a Midwest video.
Right. True. Yeah, true.
But, and especially if you say, hey, I'm bow hunting, can I turkey hunt this for a day, or can I deer hunt this for a day? They're like, well, I have my cousin, he hunts out here on the weekends, but maybe if it's the dad or the mom or whoever answers the door, they're like, but yeah, you can go on there for a day, go knock yourself out. And it's like, oh no, now you have all these tools, you just gained access and have all these different options. So public land, private land, you're looking for that diversity, and I think that's probably
right. And it's a good conversation starter too,
yeah.
Right? I mean, because you go in and say, hey, I'm looking for Jimmy, right? I'm looking for Jimmy Big Buck here. And are you Jimmy Big Buck? And they say, oh yeah. And they're like, how do you know my name? And you got it from the Hunt app, and you already...
Don't be creepy.
Right, don't be creepy, right? But, say, yeah, I mean, don't be creepy.
But let them know how you found them.
Right. I mean, don't look like a stalker, obviously, but...
People are nicer than you would expect a lot of times.
Right. So. And you'll get no, but, yeah. So you have to decide if you want to do public or private. I think you go into a hunt if you're going out of state, looking for obviously large tracts of public land, but like you said, you want good public land. You don't just want big, crappy public land, right? You want to go and have the best chance of having a good hunt, and everybody has their different idea of a good hunt. So that's up to you, but. With that, you can also use the Hunt app to try to gain access to private land areas as well, and I think that's a really good area. But if you're hunting your own state or area and you want to try to gain access to just walk in, or even out of state, you can use that as well. So there's a lot of really good public and private land aspects to it that you can utilize from there. So once you decide on a general region, then we start really diving into the area and what everything looks like. So to start, like Hunter said, you want to touch on access. But first, you obviously want to look at different types of habitat and how much edge there is in an area. Yeah. And a lot of people, I think, and I did it at first when I started hunting years and years ago, everybody just wants to go hunt big timber units that have a whole bunch of timber and it's prime habitat for deer, right? And
that's prime habitat for trees.
Yeah, it's prime habitat for trees and squirrels. And so, yeah, I think people look more for trees than they do for deer a lot, and deer are just creatures of edge.
Yep.
They will be in areas where there's a lot of different edge. You look at a majority of the sign that you see at your home base now, I guarantee you the majority of the areas that you're seeing deer sign and that you're seeing deer are on edge areas. And edge can mean an ag field right up against a timber tract, right? But edge can also be one species of trees along hillside or along a topography range on a hill next to a different area of scrub brush. There's multiple different definitions of edge that you have to be on the lookout for.
Waterway,
right?
Stuff like that.
So with that, go ahead and talk about your point on access.
So you're going to these areas that you think has the most edge. And you can even count it up. You can use the line distance feature, the area shape feature. Figure out these areas. If you want to be scientific about it, figure out which areas have the most edge, and also the best combination of distances from the roads. You can block off a bunch of areas with the area shape tool that you just don't want to hunt. You can circle areas that you think are going to be good, find hidden back corners, and then from there, you found spots that you want to check out, very diverse areas. Then you can start looking at all the roads, the parking lots, the access. It's going to show all of that stuff. It shows trails on any state parks. All of those features are going to be on the Hunt app for you to see and make those informed decisions on, hey, there's a parking lot here. Maybe I can park there and walk the road in and then cut across 200 yards from the parking lot where no one else is accessing, or park along the road instead of the parking lot, or park in the parking lot but go to this way far deep place, or whatever you want to do. You can find all these access points and then make a game plan from there. Access is going to be one of the number one things you're looking at as far as how am I getting in and not bumping deer and getting to the areas that I want to, and how am I getting out.
Now with Onyx maps, there's a lot of good map layers too that we haven't touched on. There's the topography, there's hybrid, and there's satellite. And a majority of my time I'm using the hybrid, but if I want to try to look in at, you know, where are there potential areas that, you know, just kind of get an idea of where like creek systems or water systems are flowing, to try to identify, you know, maybe some old oxbow lakes, some ponds and everything. You throw that topo layer on and it'll show you everything. Now, obviously, with all these different features or topo layers, you can also identify a lot of really good bedding areas where deer are going to potentially be bedding on different winds, in hill country. Or
they even show the wind on Onyx now.
Yeah, they do on your hunt app.
The weather feature.
That is, yeah, that's a big thing too. It keeps everything kind of just at the touch of your fingertips there. But you can also figure out where potential saddles are at. That way, you know, deer, just like humans, they want to take the path of least resistance to get to areas. So the topo layer will show you, you know, where these potential areas are that you can go, you know, scout. If you can go scout beforehand, or if you're coming from out of state, you know, where to start, right?
Yep. Or if it's like if there's a ridge running perpendicular to a food source where you know all the does are going to be bedding, and then it falls off into the backside. If you can hunt with a wind coming, you know, probably from that food source over top of that ridge, creating that kind of wind tunnel on that backside, that's where all those bucks are going to be cruising on that top third of that ridge, you know, intercepting all these does. So that's a great place to hunt, and that's a great example of how you can use the topo feature, and even better if it lines up with a saddle on that long ridge.
Right.
So yeah.
So overall, the Onyx Hunt app is really a great tool that, you know, we've gained a lot of insight and information just by utilizing it. It just makes it, to simplify it, it just makes it so much easier to go into, you know, a public land area or an area you've never been and have a lot more confidence, because everything's right there at your fingertips. It makes everything a lot more easier to figure out because it's all in one area. So,
and like you said, it gives you confidence, even from a safety perspective. Like, I would have gotten lost thousands of times by now because I'm way too ambitious on all my plans if I didn't have Onyx to get myself out. So it lets you hunt harder when you know that you're going to be able to find your way out.
Right. So with that, we're going to wrap it up here. Overall, if you guys haven't picked up Onyx Hunt app, make sure you do so. It just gives you a lot more confidence in going out in the field, different areas, and just giving you the ability to hunt harder with the confidence that, you know, you can get out and go from there. So with that, we're going to wrap up the video.
Yeah, obviously we can't touch on all the features in one video, and there's so many that we left out, and it's all situational. So that's why this is a big series, and I encourage you all to watch this series. You're going to get to pick up tips here and there along the way, even if you did know some of it already. And I think it's going to be really educational and a really good series for us. So make sure you comment down below with any questions you have and future video ideas within this series. We answer all of our comments. We like to interact with you guys, and subscribe to see future content.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and see everybody later.
Yep. Are we cavemen?
Yeah.
We're cavemen using the Hunt app.
Yeah. How cavemen once used the Hunt app. Crikey.
Cavemen couldn't kill anything until the Hunt app came along.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey. No wonder why dinosaurs went extinct.
Yeah, those caves, they were just previous versions of Onyx.
No, they were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually where the code, the software originates from.
The first Onyx
pictorials.
Hunt waypoint was on a cave.
Yeah.
At one point in time. Yeah.
Yep. First waypoint.
Yeah. Look it up. You won't find it on Google.
Just take that as a matter of fact.